And we're back. Welcome back. It's summer. It's full on happening. It's the end of June, the beginning of July. And you know what that means. MXPX is about to turn another year. July 6th is our birthday. My son is having a birthday this week. So a lot of birthdays. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday this week. Episode 566. MXPX.com. If you haven't already picked up a copy of our latest split 7-inch 100, we've got two variants. We've got binary blue, or you can get JavaScript black, and one side is our song 100, the other side is direct hit 110. Really cool stuff. MXPX.com. And you know what? If that's not enough for you, I gotta let you know, MXPX has some summertime grilling stuff, spatulas, oven, not oven mitt. It could be used as an oven mitt, but it's a grill mitt. And then we have what I've been using mostly are the tongs, and I don't know where those went. I think I took them home. The tongs, I use them all the time to cook steaks on the grill, and those have been there's. I mean, it's wood, and then this is rubber, a rubber handle, but this is all stainless steel, and yeah, it's cool. Well done. Anyway, it's all at MXPX.com. All right, that's how we keep the ship afloat. We appreciate anybody that does support us there. If not, just listen to MXPX or just keep listening to the podcast. I appreciate you. All right, let's get to it. We have some calls, some voicemails this week, and I don't know what they say, but I'm sure they're good. We'll find out in a second here. But guess what? MXPX is coming to Bend, Oregon, and we're coming to Boise, Idaho. So we're bringing our friends, the Ataris. So in Bend, Friday, September 26th, Century Center. Going to be a blast. Saturday, September 27th in Boise, Idaho. That's at Treefort Music Hall. Tickets are on sale now. Go get them. MXPX.com. If you can't find the links, that's the place to go. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to go back to Bend. I think we've only played there one time ever in our lives. I think we played there once. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm missing another show or something, but I think we've only played there once. So it'll be cool to play Century Center. And Century Center, that's going to be an outdoor show. September 26th. It's outdoors. I don't know what that means exactly. It's still in the venue, but I think it means it holds more people if you go outdoors. So keep that in mind. Let's have a blast. And then Treefort Music Hall, I've heard nothing but great things about that venue in Boise. So we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. It's been insane. I've been working my butt off, doing a bunch of things. By the time you hear this, I've went and saw the Descendants and the Interrupters and in Portland, because I'm heading there this weekend, but I'm recording this a few days in advance. So I got to record this before I go to Portland. So next week, maybe I'll let you know how it was. But it's a Punk in the Park festival in Portland. Going to be some fun. Tom and I are going to head out there and check it out. Anyway, we're going to see some friends. We're going to see what we can get into. You know what I'm saying? Life is good. Life is also crazy. I just remembered. I don't even want to talk about it. Personal life issues, nothing really bad. Just things that happen that's going to cost me some money, and nothing legal or anything like that, luckily. Just car stuff, basically. Got to get some repairs done, and it's just a nightmare. But I'm just trying to be zen about it, and that's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate the good thoughts. I appreciate the good vibes out there. Let's get into it. Your voicemails. Here we go.
What's up, Mike? It's Derek in Kentucky, and talking about the singles versus albums thing. I don't know. Just kind of interested in that, and you know, what's your strategy or your game plan, so to speak? I guess because been thinking about it a lot, because my band Semper Vivi is we're gearing up for our 10th anniversary show, and it's going to be in September. So I'm like, spending a lot of time on sort of party planning type things, trying to make it a big deal. Not playing anything locally this summer. Just gonna, build up for that. But we're getting mixes right now for a 7-inch. We're gonna do 2 songs, and it's the first time we've done that. Bass player's a big vinyl nerd. I'm not really a big audiophile, but we're kind of, doing this to do something kind of special because we haven't done any singles before, but we've done, several EPs and one full length. But anyway, just kind of want to maybe pick your brain and say, how would you do it? As far as promoting the record, promoting the show, and trying to make it, as successful as possible as far as getting a bunch of people out and getting people hyped about the new songs. Appreciate that. Maybe if you have like a game plan that you normally go by as far as, okay, we're going to make an album in 4 years, but we'll do a single every year. I don't know. I don't know if you plan that far ahead, but cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Good topic. Singles versus albums. I mean, that's a little different than singles versus albums. That's the age old question, right? What's better? I think honestly, it's singles and albums. Not everybody can do an album, so singles is almost like a given. You should do singles. These days, a song is what people might latch onto, and then they can get into your band and the rest of your catalog. But a lot of times, you need a catalyst for that, and that's a single, right? That's a single song. That's something that's going to grab somebody, and you want all your songs to be grabbing people, of course, right? But let's face it, not every song can be a 10, right? Some songs are 10s, some songs are 6s, 7s, 4s, right? Hopefully you're not releasing 3s or 4s, but it happens. It's happened, but singles versus albums isn't a thing. It's singles and albums. And for us, especially, we pepper singles throughout the year. When we have things, we have a plan sometimes, but the plan changes. The plan will always change. So yes, plan something, try to do it, but also don't be afraid to ditch that plan and do something else. Because I think, I don't remember the details on your event that you're sort of like heading towards in September with your band Semper Vivi. But whatever it is, I think something that I would do, something we've done in the past, is do a single that kind of fits your event or kind of fits what you're doing. It can be the city that you're playing in. It could be if you're celebrating an album or something like that, you could be based, the theme of the album. So, it's easier usually when it's a city. So perfect example, MXPX covered a song called Salt Lake City and by the Dwarfs. And we changed it up a little bit. We added something new that you can't get from the original. Aside from it sounding like MXPX covering a song, we also, did our own stuff to it. And even took like a part of another Dwarf song that is another one of their hit songs and put it into this. And it kind of like was like this sort of mix up, mash up, cool thing. And then we had Stacey D from Bad Cop, and we had her singing on it. And yeah, so it was really fun to kind of do that kind of stuff. And I think Jen Cotterill is also on it as well, singing. I don't want to forget her. But she, they did the song with us, and it was just something kind of more special for that event, right? So we did that. I think we did a show with Zebrahead and Bad Cop and Mercy Music, and this was years ago, and we covered a Mercy Music song, an acoustic one, and then had Zebrahead and had Bad Cop do guest spots on that. And we didn't have Mercy Music on it because it was their song. So they were contributing their song. They didn't know about it. It was a surprise. And we kind of just did this just because we really liked the song and it's a great song and wanted to breathe new life into it and maybe just help make that a moment, that show, just a show, you know. But if you can do something special for an event, it does elevate the whole culture around it. You know, there's just a feeling of authenticity, and to be honest, it's fun to do. It was so much fun. It was challenging because we had different people shooting everybody, and we didn't really know what it was going to look like. I didn't have the vision in my head of, okay, this is exactly how it looks. And even if I did, I tried to explain that to the other artists, to explain that to their camera people, and it's just like, wow, we barely got it done the way we kind of intended. But the plan does change, you know, sometimes. But it was fun despite all of those challenges. And with Salt Lake City, we didn't do a video, but we did. We just recorded an actual song and released it, and it's out there, and you can listen to it. By the way, it's that kind of thing is so much fun to do. So I think it doesn't have to be a song, like. But you say you're doing a single for this. I think there has to be a reason for the song. It just can't be a random single. I mean, sure, it can be, because a single is better than nothing. You know, having a song to promote while you're also promoting a show or something like that, that's great. But for when you really want the dots to connect, you need that song to actually have meaning towards the event that you're trying to breathe life into. That's my final answer. All right. Thanks for the call.
Hey, Mike, this is Thaddeus. You answered my question about songwriting. That was such a cool answer, that you edit your songs more after you've written them, that you think about how to optimize them and to not be disgusted by them later. I'm the same way. And also, I did not mean to phrase that question saying that, why can't you write songs? No. You are a potent songwriter, and your songs that you're coming out with right now are just as great. I love your songwriting. So my process is, I have to listen to the song a billion times and not be grossed out by it. And sometimes I'll go back and listen to older stuff and either be grossed and like wondering why I did that, or be amazed by its brilliance and like a little bit intimidated by the fact that it's so good to me, right? I'm like, man, how did I do that? So a small amount of anxiety as a songwriter. Can I still do it? Can I still, like for my songs, can I still make one that good? And to put that aside and to keep going, I tell myself that I really trust the process. To trust my editing process, trust my taste, and to just keep going and trust that ideas will come. And they do, right? As I live enough life and I keep putting myself in the way of inspiration, the ideas still come. So not really a question, just commenting on the fact that you consider your songs after you've edited them and try to optimize them. Such a great answer. It really made me smile. Thank you for that answer. So no other questions for today other than just praise your brilliant songwriting. Peace, Mike.
Thanks, Thaddeus. I appreciate that, man. That great great commentary. I do, you're talking about listening to something over and over to see if it doesn't gross you out after a while. I guess I do that too. I have to listen to whatever the mix is. I got to listen to it a few times, and I have to listen to it passively where I'm not paying attention. I call it like almost a car test, where you're just in the car and you have it on. If anything sticks out, you pay attention. Why does that stick out? Is it a good thing that it sticks out, or is it something's off on the mix? But not only the mix, deeper than that, the performance. Is there something off on this performance? Am I going to need to go and redo this vocal part? So as hard as I've ever tried to just make every vocal right, there's times where people don't hear it the same way I do, where I can think of a newer song where there's one word where I'm just like, I don't really like the way I said that. And most people don't. I would assume most people wouldn't notice something like that because it's not them singing it. It's they're going to take it at face value. Or I'm just, because I hear my voice doing a certain thing with my songs, I hear that in my head. I hear that in my mind, in my body. And I want to hear something better than that, or at least as good as what I hear in my mind. And you hear things in your mind perfectly. So it's not that I want things to be perfect. I just don't want them to stick out and gross me out. Like you said, that's a great little analogy. You don't want to be grossed out. Yeah, that's really what it is like, is there something that bothers me? So like, I let things go sometimes, and I still think about the fact that I let it go, and I knew I was letting it go. And I said, hey, I was talking to Tom Chichilla. I said, hey, I don't want this. I don't like this word, but we're mixed. We're done. We're mastered. We're ready to go. I don't want to be that guy. And if it doesn't bother anybody else, and it didn't, I'm not going to be the guy that's like, no, let's change everything. So I didn't. And I still am like, it doesn't ruin the song for me at all. Like, it's still a great song. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. Maybe someday. Can you guess? Now everybody's going to start like guessing the wrong thing and like pointing out all these flaws in my singing. And I'm just going to be like, no, I had no idea that was that bad. And then I'm going to just be destroyed. So maybe not a good idea, but I guess that would be my fault for reading the comments or listening to the voicemails, right? Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate the feedback, and it's always positive, just about. I mean, honestly. So it really means a lot. It's been cool to do these voicemail episodes. So I don't really feel like I'm going to stop. I will do a Music Monday soon. Things are piling up again. They always do. As soon as I do a Music Monday episode, then I get a lot more submissions, which is great. Please keep coming. If you want to be part of that, you can leave a YouTube link of your song, and it can be your video. If you don't have a video for it, it could just be the song, but you use your YouTube link on the Mike Herrera podcast Facebook group. Okay. And then if you want to call in, be part of the voicemail episodes, the number is 360-830-6660. If you're outside the US, you got to put a 1 before all of that. So appreciate you. Maybe I'll play you on the podcast. All right. Back to our previously scheduled program.
Yo, Mike, how's it going, man? Barson Miller, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Listen, I get drunk and I comment on your posts sometimes and tell you how important and fucking life-changing your music was for me. You see, I got into you guys. This gal I was dating saw that I was listening to old school Yellow Card albums, and they were still super hardcore band, or what do I want? Super hardcore band, mild hardcore. Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, you really like these guys?" And so they gave me a burned CD of a bunch of it was MXPX mixtape. And man, at first I was like, this is a little slower tempo. But now I got really into it, dude. And, you know, your vocal styles, I didn't even know you were a bass player at first, dude. And so, like, when I found out that you were the bass player, front man, I play bass and sing, dude, I started looking at interviews of what your buddies say about you, the guys in your band. And so you just became, like, my favorite front man. It's so inspirational because, like, the guys are like, dude, he really gets it going. Love that shit. Copy my own after some of yours. Anyways, what I really called to tell you and what was super sweet about my life, I met this really hardcore mosh pit chick, dude. She was amazing, fucking monster, yeah? Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. We get married. But before that, I was like this rugged, nasty street fighter, you know what I'm saying? Call myself king of the mosh pit, all that shit. Everybody was like, nobody's ever gonna hang out with you, bro, you're psycho. But this chick she was down. And one of the things I had to chase her for a long time, softened her up by singing, Can I Call You Sweetheart? You know, do your feet hurt? Did you fall from heaven? Yeah, so we got married. We had a little boy. His name's Gennari. Love him to death. He's about 7 now. Apple in my eye. He's with me 24 hours. I don't speak to that gal anymore, dude, but you know what I mean? If I didn't have those lyrics that you wrote, I don't think she ever would have came back home with me, no matter if I did have the taco buffet after the dance hall. You know what I mean, dude? So, thanks, man. Thanks for being a fucking inspiration in your long career of rocking and rolling. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for putting a newfound glory on in your continued endeavors and efforts in the scene, my guy. We really appreciate it. And that throwing the guitarist thing across the stage, fucking bonkers, dude. Loved it. How long does that one take you to learn, eh? Have a great one, Brody. Oh. San Dimas High School football rules!
Who? Dude, thanks for the call, man. You're one of a kind, I can tell, and I love it. Thanks for calling in. Yellow Card, old school Yellow Card, hardcore. I don't even know if I've heard old school Yellow Card that's hard. I don't know. I'm going to have to check it out. They have a new song out. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's hard these days to really be a band like that and put out a good song. So it's not bad. Not bad. Their first single back. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, did they have a violin? Did they have Sean on violin back in the day? Or I guess I should probably look up their Wikipedia. Not that Wikipedia is really always all that correct. Ours isn't necessarily, but Mosh Pit Chick, that's the best thing I've ever heard. And you know, sometimes we got to go through hell to get to heaven, but Mosh Pit Chick it is. I think you were onto something there. Whether, you know, not all things can last, right? Not all good things can last. But hey, man, do your feet hurt? Did you fall from heaven? That's been, you know, that's been done to me with somebody else's song. This girl in Atlanta. This is a long time ago. First few tours, we were doing well, but this girl I met outside the show after, we weren't talking. She was just a fan, you know, but she like gave me this letter, and thank you. I read it later in the van, and I was like, these words sound really familiar, and started out. I should look this up. It started out. Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, so, all right, so this girl in Atlanta, I meet her after the show. She's a fan. It wasn't like we were trying to hook up or anything. It was just like, she was like, hey, I gave you this letter. And thank you. So I took the letter back and I read it in the van. And I was like, what? These lyrics sound a little familiar. And I start reading the lyrics. I've been looking so long at these pictures of you that I almost believe that they're real. I've been living so long with my pictures of you that I almost believe that the pictures are all I can feel. And I was like, that's really good. Verse 2, remembering you standing quiet in the rain. Wait, when was I standing quiet in the rain? As I ran to your heart to be near. And we kissed as the sky fell in, holding you close, how I always held close in your fear. And at this point, Yuri's a big fan. And he's like, wait a minute, that's The Cure. She did not give The Cure credit for those lyrics. And I'll never forget it to this day. It was so much fun. And honestly, I don't fault her for that. Honestly, you know, we all as teenagers have so much emotion and so much love to give, and we want to connect. We find a song like Pictures of You by The Cure is an amazing song. We connect to those lyrics so hard, and then you find another, you know, like you connect to MXPX and you know, you can't give MXPX lyrics, so you give MXPX Cure lyrics. And so I respect that, and it's a good memory, honestly. It's a great memory. that somebody cared about us so much that they would go through the trouble to write us letters and all that. So, that reminds me, if anybody has a letter from the old days to us or to any band, and you have a copy of it, I would love for you to send in just call in and read it. That'd be awesome. Love to comment on that. Anyway, thanks for your call. Let's get to another one. What do we got? One or two? Let's do two more. All right, here we go.
Hey, Mike, this is Nate again. Calling to first say awesome job on the new song. Absolutely love 100. It's amazing. Looking forward to getting a t-shirt and maybe some vinyl. But yeah, I wanted to check in about the tour. I'm looking because, as I had said before, I live closer to Boston, but I was thinking about taking the truck up in October to Montreal, but I didn't know if you would be adding on any tours down to Boston or Worcester or any of those, or if you have any plans for Mass at some point. It's only 5.5 hours for me, but I have to get my passport renewed and all that, so it's a little bit more work, but I'm definitely would love to do that to be able to see you guys for sure. So just didn't know if you had any plans to add on any tour dates, whether it's New York or Boston, to see if maybe I can see it there. But either way, definitely looking to make it happen. Other part of the question today, didn't know if who your favorite MLB player was back in the day. Didn't know if you loved Ken Griffey Jr. I was a big Griffey fan growing up, and I loved a lot of different Seattle stars like Sean Kemp on the Sonics. So just having a little nostalgic time back in the 90s with all of those great athletes. But I know you're from Seattle, so didn't know if you love those guys too. Keep up the great job on the podcast. One other thing is anytime I'm done with the podcast, I follow it up with more MXPX. So I didn't know if other listeners do the same thing. After they get done listening, I put on one of their favorite albums. So I know I definitely do. So hope all is well with you and your family, and I'll talk soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Nate. Dude, thank you. I appreciate you, man. I'll try to get to all this. First and foremost, Seattle sports. I love Seattle sports. I kind of got into basketball right in the last season of the Sonics. So I went to a game, and then I think the next year they got sold to Oklahoma City. So congrats to Oklahoma City, by the way, winning the finals. It's a little sour because, Pacers lost their star player in literally game 7. Wow. Anyway, a little conspiracy there. Anybody wearing the number 0 had their Achilles tendon ripped. It's just like, whoa, torn up. I'm not saying that's a thing or anything, but it's kind of weird. Anyway, Boston. Yeah, Boston. You're up near Boston. Same thing with the Celtics. Anyway, let's get back to Seattle sports. I'm going to say Seattle sports, Ken Griffey Jr., definitely a fan. I never really went to games and watched him play really. I've been to some Mariners games, more modern games. And then I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. I'm a Seattle Kraken fan. Those are my two right now. And Sonics when they come back. I'll be all over the Sonics. But right now I've always been a Seattle Seahawks fan. What was it? There's all the old players. I can't really think. Jim Zorn. I used to watch way back then. When I was a little kid. My dad would be watching, but I just remember the announcer Jim Zorn threw another interception. Or no, he did pretty good. But the Seahawks lost a lot of games when I was growing up, so I didn't really pay attention once I got into music, and then they started. I started paying attention probably around 2008, somewhere in there again. But having the Kraken, having hockey in Seattle has been so much fun. I love going to Kraken games. I love hockey. I love the culture of it. I love the people that represent those teams and all the workers and all the people that work at the arena have been so cool to us. Yeah, they've hooked us up. We did a thing with Silver City Brewery, where we did a beer, and it was actually our last beer. It was Stay Up All Night, and we had it at a Kraken game. It was the beer of the game, so that was cool. Kind of a cool highlight. So that's my Seattle stuff. I'm a huge Seattle fan, and I love Seattle Seahawks. They're one of my favorite teams, and well, I guess they would be my favorite team, but I guess I'm saying like they're one of my favorite all-time teams in life. And then now that Seattle Kraken is in existence, you know, they've been around a few years now. They've really been a huge part of my last few years. It's been fun. All right, Boston. No plans this year for Boston. We are planning on hitting that area at some point, but it could very well be Philadelphia. I don't know. But if you want to come up to Montreal, we're going to be playing 2 shows, Quebec City and Montreal in October. Tickets are on sale, but they're getting low, so don't wait if you do want to go see it. I'm not talking to you, Nate. I'm kind of talking to everybody, but Nate, yeah, I mean, that's up to you. I wouldn't, you know, if you want to do your thing, but I'm sure we're going to be announcing something for 2026 somewhere east again. I don't really know, because even things that I think I know will change. It'll be like, okay, it was going to be this city, but now it's this city and this city, you know. So we just aside from Quebec and Montreal, we just released tickets for Bend, Oregon and Boise, Idaho. So that's September 26th in Bend, Oregon, September 27th in Boise. So I can't wait for those shows, but there's going to be a few more heading towards the end of the year, things like that. But like I said, things change constantly, and plans, like we were talking about earlier on the podcast, plans do change. So make a plan, but don't be surprised when that plan needs to change. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for the love on 100. Anybody out there, if you haven't already added 100 to your playlist, to your music library, I'd appreciate you just adding that in there. Even if you don't listen to it, just add it. Hit that plus thing on Apple Music. Hit that add on Spotify or whatever you listen on. I don't care. I just appreciate you listening. If you haven't done so, head over to MXPX's YouTube page and subscribe to MXPX YouTube. We could use all the views we can get over there. Much appreciated. All right, let's do one more voicemail, and then we'll be on our way for the week. All right, here we go.
Hey, this is Jarrett from Southwest Michigan. You know, one of the fun things about having followed a band for so long is hearing the different eras of production, even from producer to producer and record to record. You know, even like that vast sonic change from Steve Kravac to Jerry Finn. And one of like the signatures of a record is a snare sound. And Mike, you've talked about how you don't necessarily like a thin, like piccolo snare sound. So I'm just wondering, as someone who produces and writes and, you know, spends all the time in the studio, like if you could pick a snare, whether it's like model or type of sound, like what would your ideal snare be for your taste? Thanks.
That's a great question. I don't think there is an ideal snare sound, because every snare needs to live in the song. So I see ideal snare sounds for certain songs, certain types of music. A great snare sound would be Smoking Popes, the whole record really, but just the first couple songs on Destination Failure. That record sounds amazing. And Super Drag, Head Trip in Every Key. Listen to the first couple songs on that record. That snare sound sounds perfect to me. And that's Jerry Finn. And that's why we started working with him. We're just like, this guy knows how to make records. And I don't, you know, the Blink record too, Enema of the State, sounds amazing. Sounds great. And I love the sound of that record. So I think he wanted each of his productions to kind of sound different or whatever, so he didn't make us sound like that. But I wonder. Yeah, I think there's no ideal snare sound. It's just I like a fat snare. I like a snare that has some tone to it, but honestly, like sometimes you want a little tone and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you want it to be dry. You want it to just puh, 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 kuh, 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 or kung, kung. I mean, there are songs where you have this kung, kung. Like if you listen to Gray Skies Turn Blue, the acoustic version on, I guess it would be, what, ACEP? Yeah, that's got some ring to it. That wouldn't work for most songs, but I think in that setting it kind of works. Maybe it's a little loud, but I think we just kind of, sometimes things need to be too loud. I don't mind things to be out of their natural place in a mix, especially if it's not my band. But no, I like it even if it's MXPX. I like it when sometimes the bass guitar is too loud. Of course, it's me. It's bass guitar. But I like to hear the bass guitar because before everything and after, you can't hardly hear my bass. And it was mainly this is a utility. But I think there's room for all of these things, and we've really tried to experiment throughout the years on each record, on each production, and through each producer. Of course, we've had, Steve Kravac, where he really taught us precision, but told us take everything away, strip all of anything complicated, strip that out, take that out. That's Buffalo, right? No fills, no extra drum stuff, no extra bass fills. It's just simple. Like, let's just do the AC/DC style of punk rock. And then there's, I would say like the record right before that was a lot less, of that. It was just as it was, just play it really well. And I'm talking about Life in General. We had a lot more frills and a lot more drum fills and things like that. But going up to, say, our newer stuff, we don't put those rules on. Like, we had rules for self-titled. That was like, we don't want to do anything that we can't do live. But we only did it for self-titled. That's really almost the only time we've done that. We just wanted to see what it would be like, and we really liked it. It was cool. Find a Way Home, we did a little bit more, and I really love the production on that. It really came out great, and it still really, really feels like you're in the room with the band. And I think, going back to snare sounds to wrap this up, when I heard Tom Petty Wildflower, if you listen to the snare drum on that, or if you listen to the hi-hat, to the drum kit, it sounds like you're in the room with those drums. And it depends on what it is, because you don't always want that sound, like it's now we live in modern times where compression, and you're listening on little tiny earbuds, you're listening on laptop speakers and iPhone speakers, and you need to mix it a little bit differently than we did 20 years ago. Because of that, like I said, my tastes almost change sometimes, like where I couldn't see MXPX sounding like this, but now I can kind of see it sounding like this. It's all going to be anchored in our sound, in what we do, what kinds of parts we play, what kinds of vocal lines I sing, what kind of lyrics I'm writing. That's all part of the puzzle as well, of course. But snare, that's a big one. I love the fact that we did a different snare on every song on Find a Way Home. Kind of hard to tell unless you really know and you're paying attention, but there is a different snare on every single song of that record. And that's not necessary. We just did it for fun. And, I think every record we kind of do something like that for fun. Like we've done subliminal messaging on a record. I won't tell you which one we've done, and it's all positive subliminal messaging, by the way. It's like, you are the greatest. You are special. We love you. All these like up messages to get people to feel better, and that's all we're trying to do, is to connect with people, to write lyrics that will communicate a little bit of pain, because we all have pain, but not to dwell on that pain, but to move on and try to console, but also uplift and unburden, and to move past. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out, and I know I never will, but I think trying is all we're meant to do. And do better at trying. I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for your calls. I appreciate you. If you want to call in, the number is 1-360-830-6660. Leave me a voicemail, any topic. It could be about the music, about the band, about anything I talk about. It could be about what you are going through. You need job advice. You need girlfriend, boyfriend advice, whatever it is. Kids, I'm not the best parent in the world, but whatever you guys want to talk about, let's do it. Cheers to my producer, Bob McKnight. Shout out to him. He's got some really cool podcasts going on. He's working on some stuff behind the scenes for himself, and I'm really excited about what that could mean for the future for him. And in the meantime, you guys, I'm just going to keep writing some songs. We are not done. We haven't recorded anything new or anything, as far as like we're still working on, songwriting and practicing here and there. And some guys got to take this day off, this week off or whatever. And that happens, including myself. When I go on Goldfinger trips, I'll have to miss a practice sometimes. And, but we're getting there, and the progress has been good. And I still got to write a bunch of good songs, basically. So wish me luck. All right, y'all. Much love. Peace.